My name is Elle Stanger. I am a certified sexuality educator by the American Association of Sexuality Educators, Counselors, and Therapists.org, also known as ASECT. I have been certified by them since 2021, so new into that professional part of my career. I have been working as an internet adult content creator since 2005. I've been a published nude model on the internet for money and or fun. Photos, video, webcam, sexting, live shows, DIY, custom, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, yes, dabbled in a lot of the sex work. I've worked in a lot of other avenues, and outside of the internet or online, that includes stripping for 14 years, 3 to 5 shifts a week in Portland, Oregon.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, you're
I'm in
perfect.
it.
Yeah. So you have done versions of sex work throughout the years, but now are you transitioning out and then focused more on being a sexual educator, or are you doing both?
So, what I found during my time in adult entertainment or sex work is that a lot of people are lacking information, resources, and a lot of people are coming up against their own shame and guilt and confusion. So, as a stripper, as a webcam worker, as someone making porn or interacting with a client in other spaces, when people make self-deprecating remarks or express guilt or maybe trepidation or shame, or people refer to other bad experiences they might have had with other providers, if I can, I will gently interrogate that and ask people to tell me what their experiences are and what's the root of their fears. And I have noticed that if we all just had more information and resources, we would all have a better, safer, and perhaps more lucrative time. So my goal is to continue doing sex work and interacting with people erotically for as long as I can, but transition as I age into more harm reduction services, which will suit me and my body and my time better too.
How many years would you say everything has been?
10 plus, or between interacting on the internet and interacting in person, 14 to 17 years.
So you have a lot of experience in this industry. I'm curious, what do you think is the number one misconception about the industry as a whole?
That there is no value in touch or erotica or interacting. And that's simply not true. We experience dopamine, oxytocin release from viewing boobs or having, a sexy massage. I understand that Live Jasmine, we're talking about online work, so I'll try to be more specific to online work. But it is so heart opening to hear from couples, women, people who are realizing they're queer, men of any age, to hear thank you for either showing me something I didn't know I liked, or helping me relax, or sending me a really affirming JOI,
What's that?
jerk off instructional video.
Not okay. Shoot. Okay. I don't know how does that work?
So consider, if you've ever watched an ASMR video to relax or soothe or feel tingles, to imagine someone's brushing your hair, giving you a massage, tickling your face. Now imagine you're being told how to self-pleasure.
Wow, that's actually really cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
super cool. And I didn't know until the last couple of years that a lot of men actually like being told when to come.
Oh, really?
So to have someone create like a custom video for you, or to watch a video or interact with someone who's guiding you with self-touch, saying your name, looking into your eyes, giving you affirmations that you deserve to feel good. This is so incredibly healing for people.
What I pretty much heard you say is that the biggest misconception that you would say people have about the adult entertainment industry is that it's not healing or useful, and it is.
Mm-hmm. We need touch, we need interaction, we need to be seen and heard. It is healthy for people to ejaculate. It is healthy for people to experience blood flow to their genitals. Science knows this. Sex educators know this. It is healthy to utilize your muscles or else they atrophy. People who have healthy semi-regular sexual responses are less likely to experience atrophy of those reasons, like, or of those regions. So if you are someone with a prostate, one of the things you can do to prevent prostate cancer is ejaculate.
Mhm.
So right there, folks who are anti-masturbation don't want to hear stuff like self-touch helps you sleep better, helps you self-regulate, helps your body prevent cancer generation. So that is something I wish more people just knew, that sex and pleasure is inherently good and necessary for our bodies. And if we can find safer and healthier, more ethical ways to seek it out and interact, everyone is the better.
Why do you think that we as a society are so uncomfortable with self-pleasure, with pleasure in general, with sex in general, with intimacy in general? Um, it's like we're all secretly obsessed with it, but we try to pretend like we're not overall. You know what I mean?
Cultural conditioning often comes back to fundamental religiosity, which tells people that we were born from a virgin and that masturbating is a sin. So there's a lot of extremism that still impacts people who make policy and laws around the material we can consume. And there's a lot of homophobia and racism, which also impacts people and how they are allowed to interact based on what they look like or where they fall into society. So a lot of people making these rules are people with wealth or power or privilege, and that impacts a lot of us who do not. Um, Again, this is why small creators are so useful, because if wealthy, privileged, let's say only white people, only white straight men are in charge of all of the industries and all of the content, it is going to be made by and for them. And historically, this is what has been the case. So due to the proliferation of the internet, social media, chat apps, more people who are like me, who are self-motivated to create content the way they want to the clients they want, because there's more of us to interact with our clients who can see that we are real people with, again, diverse bodies, shapes, sizes, hair, C-section scars, bald, hairy armpits, the different range of ways that people can show up in the world besides just like a Eurocentric runway model image that we've been fed in a lot of TV and media. A lot of people, again, aren't attracted to tall, slender women with big boobs. People like all different things.
100%. Yeah. I mean, there's what, 8 billion people on the planet, and everyone has different desires and needs and perspectives. I want to go back to something you said earlier, because it pinged me in that, it is true that when people self-pleasure, or when they are having a deep connection with someone, whether it's in person or online, our bodies do release dopamine and oxytocin. There is a release. And I was thinking, it is true that, I mean, if you're releasing these hormones so often, which we know do wonders for our immune system,
Mm-hmm.
more sexual you are to a degree, that could potentially increase your immune system and your longevity in many different ways. And I know there are studies that have linked regular sexual activity to longevity, because we need to be happy to live long, and to experience pleasure. But I was just thinking, it does make a lot of sense, like scientifically, when we're constantly flooding our bodies with these hormones that we know give everything a boost. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, we'd live a little bit longer, or potentially prevent ourselves from getting other diseases.
Mm-hmm. I often have mostly strip club clients who, when they ask my age and I tell them I'll be 37 this year, they're shocked. They think I'm a bit younger. And I say it's all that masturbation and cheese. They don't know.
Yeah, all that happiness. Um, I'm curious, from your perspective, what would you say is the true job of a webcam model? Just bringing it back to the lens of Live Jasmine. What would you say that CAM models are actually providing to members?
What we are providing as workers, as entertainers, is the opportunity for people to explore their curiosities and to show their gratitude for what we can teach them or show them. There's just no limit to the ways you can play with yourself or with other people. And play, again, keeps us healthy and keeps us active, gives us opportunity to explore our own boundaries, preferences. Play is very, very necessary. And I think adult entertainment is often play for adults.
You've been in this industry for 17 years. That's a long time. I'm certain that you've run against some of the stigma that exists in opposition to this industry. How do you deal with it? What has that been like?
I experience people who think that I don't have feelings, people thinking that they don't have to respect my feelings at all. And this is because, due to some, again, negative cultural conditioning, we tell people that folks who work in sex are either sick or sad or sinners or they need rescue. So a lot of people approach us with fear, suspicion, trepidation, or misguided concern. And I think when you're interacting with folks, again, in any way, transactionally or not, it is very, very useful to mind the space you take up, mind your requests, mind, are you touching them without asking? Are you asking them nosy questions? I've had people ask me things you would never ask a librarian or a server or a barista because they think they're entitled to my body or my time because they don't respect what I do for a living. There are some jobs, there are many jobs that are automatically respected because we put more value into those jobs in a society. I've also experienced, of course, plenty of people who say that I couldn't possibly be a good or adequate parent because people think that if you are sexual or working sexually with other adults, for some reason, this would impact your ability to raise a child. These are two different things. A lot of people who work in adult entertainment, they might also be the bank teller. Or I stripped with a woman who was a college professor, and she got very, very tired of people asking her if she was ever going to go back to school and do something with her life. She's like, actually, I have class in the morning, I'm teaching. So would you believe it when I tell you that some of my clients, some of my longest clients are asexual, identify as asexual. So without much or any libido, they interact with me because I make them laugh or I make them think, or again, I show them something cool like a pole trick or even a funny video. I have noticed that quite a many of my clients, the sexual interactions we have are brief or maybe only half of the entire interaction. So it is also talking about your day, your travel, your job, your health, your fitness, whatever my clients show up with that I have the space and capacity for, I'm down. And it's definitely, a lot of times people will say that this is like unlicensed therapy work. I used to joke that I was an underwear therapist because people were telling me some of their deepest secrets or asking for advice. As someone who now works quite a bit with certified licensed counselors, therapists, I understand there are differences. There's different accountability and training and processes. So not the same, but there's similar things and reasons that people are reaching out for when they seek therapy and when they seek adult entertainers sometimes. And that is a soundboard that is to be heard, that is to be seen. Mm-hmm. And then what was the other? So some of the hardships, some of the dangers. Okay, so coming off of that, when people who are maybe not well supported or don't have a strong social network or don't have a healthy social network or don't have family, or again, are impacted by cultural conditioning and expectations of how entertainers are in their mind, sometimes people get unhealthy attachment to the people who make them feel good. Other hardships are systemic. So there might be real obstacles to adult entertainers acquiring banking, housing, childcare, mental health services if they work in adult entertainment. If it comes up in a background check, or if they self-disclose, then a lot of folks are discriminated against, even if it's illegal or it's not illegal. in a lot of cases because a lot of anti-discrimination policies don't include people who work in adult entertainment. They never have. So this is why people are kicked out of nursing school, hair school, dental school for having done even legal sex work or adult entertainment. I had a friend, you can look this up. There's not a lot of articles about it, but her name is Nicole Gilliland, and she sued Southwestern Oregon Community College a couple of years ago. They kicked her out of nursing school, even though she did porn as an adult 10 years prior.
Yeah. And did she win the case?
She won a $1.7 million suit. And that's why I do work to hopefully improve policy and laws and create more options for people. And it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of people, and it's going to take a lot of time. So good thing I have energy.
There you go. The points that you brought up, I think they're really important. And I'm really glad that you brought them up, because I think a lot of people don't even know sometimes the abuse that's going on certain groups of people. Even if people aren't into any form of sex work, there are people that do care about all human rights. And when we're able to know about the abuse, then more can be done about it.
I really encourage people to check out a book called Sex Work Matters. There's 3 authors. I remember it's Levy, Ditmore, and I can't remember the third, but it is a compilation of studies about sex work and then evaluating those studies, which ones had good methodology, which ones had researcher bias. And there's also a lot of information to be gleaned from this book and these collection of studies. One thing that jumps out at me that I really want people to know, and something I'm asked about constantly, a lot of people ask or assume that people working in sex are all traumatized, either by their parents or partners. And what keeps coming up in ethical, well-conducted studies is that people who work in adult industry are not more overall traumatized or abused than the general populations. Every culture in the world engages in child abuse to some degree. We're complicit in different ways. What is noticeable is that folks in adult entertainment have a harder time managing relationships due to stigma. It's harder for people to date or get married or have safe friend circles when there's so much stigma. And this could look like, I go to my new boyfriend's for Thanksgiving, his family asks what I do, and suddenly it's an issue and they treat me bad. And because boyfriend doesn't know how to deal with this kind of criticism from his family because he's never experienced it before, maybe he internalizes it and it disrupts our relationship. This is something that I have not personally experienced. I'm giving an example for what other people disclose to me, where they will experience relationship strain or lack of trust due to outside stigma, outside ideas from media and messaging. If people are worried about exploitation, we need to give more rights to the workers, not try to abolish the ways that they're trying to make money, because that pushes their work underground and again, makes them easier to exploit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You're a great interviewer.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Folks can find me ellestanger.com, or on Instagram, I'm still at stripper writer, or on Twitter, I'm Elle Stanger, but I am so shadow banned on Twitter.
Interesting. I thought it would be Instagram that's like heavier on the shadow bans.
I'm shadow banned there too. I'm also verified. Who knew that you could be both? Me. I know that now.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I know a lot of accounts that are verified and get shadow banned often as well. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you for your help and support with these conversations.